I ran into a gentleman who was tending to his crops. He informed me that there were petroglyphs further down the valley on large stones in the river. So I made my way further into this fertile valley in southern Peru. Many are naturally subject to interpretation, like these potentially being stars and the one with the tail perhaps indicating a comet. His personal beliefs were that some of them might indicate something extraterrestrial. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the phenomenon, so I can't speak to it from personal experience, but I can attest to hearing the very frequent accounts, precisely the same pattern that can be found over 11 hours away at the Chimu site of Chanchan. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. There's a ton of new videos coming and a lot of exciting announcements happening with the channel. I don't want you to miss it. And with that, let's get into this adventure. After surveying this impressive site here in the Calango River Valley, which you can find on the channel and I'll link it below, but on my way down from the mountain, I ran into a gentleman who was tending to his crops. He informed me that there were petroglyphs further down the valley on large stones in the river. I figured, since I was there and it was still daylight, that I should try to find them, so I made my way further into this fertile valley in southern Peru. On the way to the area I was pointed to, out of the corner of my eye, I saw what I thought could be ruins on the other side of the riverbank, in this general area here, but I'd stopped to check that out on the way back from looking for these glyphs. I had hoped to run into another local to point me in the right direction, but as I searched through these stones in the river, I do have to say that although I wasn't finding where these petroglyphs were supposed to be, being here in the epicenter of this valley was just stunning. It couldn't have been more picturesque. After a solid half hour or so of looking, I gave up and I started to make my way back. But when I was using Google Earth to orient myself, I noticed this here along the route, so I figured I'd see if I could at least find that. And I did. It was a massive boulder covered with petroglyphs. There were all sorts of designs, shapes, animals, and humanoid figures. Cultures have occupied these valleys for thousands of years, often populating the same or nearby locations of their ancestors. And given that petroglyphs are typically some of the oldest examples of human occupation, it didn't surprise me that over generations, architecture had started to be built in the surrounding region. Some of these symbols are clearer than others, like this animal with two horns. But many are naturally subject to interpretation, like these potentially being stars and the one with the tail perhaps indicating a comet. At least that's what similar looking glyphs across the world have been interpreted as. The stone itself was on someone's property, as you can tell, and apparently the owner was working down by the river, and he came up after a while. He explained that there were stones peppered throughout the banks of the riverbed and highlighted a few particular glyphs here, offering his thoughts on what he thought that they might be.
Los ovnis.
Sí,
Uno, dos, y tres, ¿no?
His personal beliefs were that some of them might indicate something extraterrestrial, which, if you speak to anyone in these regions, about 1 in every 3 people will share a personal experience of witnessing omnis or UFOs. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the phenomena, so I can't speak to it from personal experience, but I can attest to hearing the very frequent accounts of those who do live in these regions. On the way back out of the valley, I stopped to see how close I could make it to those ruins I had seen from the car earlier.
I saw some ruins up here. go check them out.
Which meant I had to walk through this orchard here.
I see them up there.
As I got closer to the river, I could see that there were indeed structures across the way. They weren't deep enough to be homes or anything like that, and from Google Earth you can see a path along these slopes. So I'm thinking maybe this was some sort of retaining wall or a barrier built up along the path of travel. But what was unexpected and awesome, there was another one of those huge boulders here, and it had petroglyphs on it, right here along the riverbank. They were hard to make out because of the setting sun using the GoPro, so I switched to use my phone, which helped to see them just a little bit better. One of the most interesting things to me on this set of petroglyphs was this geometric pattern here, because it's precisely the same pattern that can be found over 11 hours away at the Chimu site of Chan Chan. Now maybe it's simply because it's a basic pattern, but either way, the similarities stood out to me. I did my best using imaging effects to try to make these petroglyphs stand out a little bit, but I will be posting these images separately, so if there's anybody out there that's good at editing petroglyphs and you can make them stand out, I'd love to see what you come up with. I've got to give special thanks to helpful and friendly locals who have taken their time to share their thoughts, insights, and personal histories with me. That's definitely one of the magical aspects about expeditions like this, and I remain grateful to everyone who has taken their time to speak, guide, and direct me along the way. If you're interested in supporting the Pillars of the Past mission to document, investigate, and help preserve these newly discovered and ancient forgotten sites, there are a ton of links in the description below to do that. Everything and anything is truly appreciated and incredibly helpful because as it stands now at this stage, it's truly a grassroots effort. And thank you all to those who have shown their support, because I couldn't do this without you. Definitely hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the newest videos and the latest announcements. There's a lot in the works, things like tours and other exciting news, and I don't want you to miss it. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.